Hey guys, and welcome back to Grace of a Military Child and Life podcast. Life from the perspective of a military family member is way different than a civilian standpoint. Military children and family members give up their hopes and dreams to be able to stand by and support their service member, and it isn't an easy lifestyle for anyone to live. I hope that this podcast is able to help connect the military community and give others just a glimpse into what the military life is like from the perspective of spouses and children. Hi everyone, welcome back to Grace of a Military Child in Life. On today's episode, we have fellow Army brat, Xiomara. So Xiomara, welcome to the podcast. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. It is going very well this lovely morning.
Yes, awesome. So tell me what it's like to grow up an Army brat.
Growing up an Army brat, I tell all my friends being a military child is my only personality trait because I feel that's really what we make out of it. It's like,
absolutely,
growing up a military child, you never have like one root. Like maybe you'll have like, okay, like my parents are from this city and that's cool, but where am I from?
right?
See me? Like I was born in Germany and then I moved all within the United States like my whole entire life. So it's always like, well, I was born in Germany, but I'm American. But I lived here, but I lived here. And so it's like because of that, I feel like just telling people like, oh, like where are you from? I don't even answer that question anymore. I'm like, I'm just a military child.
Yeah.
That's my personality, like being a military child. So like growing up a military child honestly has so many, like you get the best stories. People love hearing about your life. Like,
yeah,
I love to like flaunt it a little bit. I like to tell people where I've lived. But I love being a military child. It's the best.
Yeah, I can tell you're proud of it.
Thank you.
No, it's so much fun. And, that question of where are you from is the question, I dread. I guarantee you everyone out there dreads. Like, nobody wants to answer it. And I've only lived in 3 different places, but I'm still like, Cleveland, Ohio is where I was born. San Antonio, Texas was like huge, like formative 9 through 12. So pretty formative years. And then Florida, I spent like 7th grade on all throughout high school. I've gone to college here. Like, specific milestones and life events happen in each place you live in, making each place home. So
that
what do you do about it?
So true. Like, though, what you said right there is like you have moments in your life where it's like those moments in different places around the world. It's like it's what makes me who I am right now. And I guess that goes back to why I say like it's my personality trait, because it's like, where did you get this such like this big personality? It's like, okay, lived in America. Where did you get this like organized, very strict, on top of everything personality? Went to German school, was around a lot of Germans. Where did you get such nice fashion? Like, why are you always dressed up so nice? Lived in Korea. It's a fashion show every day. Like, little things about like you take things, and I think every place has definitely taught me such like a life lesson. And when you grow up in one place, it doesn't have that same energy. Like, just, and every state has like their different cultures. Like you said, you lived in 3 different states. Like not many people know, like unless like you leave different states and you move around, like every state has like different cultural things. Same with different countries, different cultural things. And it's like adapting to that and like, getting used to that lifestyle. It's like from Ohio to Florida, that's huge. Like that's
for
like
sure.
Completely different.
Yeah. And, you have the North versus, the South versus Florida South. And then, I literally just went up to Ohio for like 3 weeks. And just the difference between Ohio and Florida. One, there was snow and I hadn't seen snow, and you don't get snow in Florida. And I love the snow. Like, I love it. But the difference just between cultures of Ohio and Florida is insane. Like,
it is.
So you talk about cultures within a country. Absolutely. Like everywhere you go is so different.
And that's the thing, like I feel like a lot of military kids know this feeling of like when you move to a foreign country and then you have to adjust the way that you act.
Yeah.
Like even on base, off base, like the way you act on base can get you in trouble. So you gotta best behavior.
Absolutely.
And then you go off base. Off base, when I was living in Korea, there was definitely some times where like kids would do stuff on base and it's like, okay, not only are you getting yourself in trouble, you're getting the MPs involved, you're getting the base involved, you're getting Dodea involved, you're getting your parents' rank involved. Like,
let's
so
just not do it.
Let's just not be dumb, especially on the military installation.
Avoid it at all costs. And people don't understand the fact that if you get in trouble, like in school, on base, your parents get in trouble because of your actions. They don't get that.
And it's like, exactly, like I knew a girl, obviously, like I'm not going to go into detail, but
yeah,
something happened on base. Dad demoted. What do you mean your parent is getting demoted because of your actions? Your actions.
Oh
like,
my god.
And that's the thing, like, and I feel that's another reason why military kids at times can be seen as more, what is the word? More, I forgot English right now. What is the more mature? There we go.
Yes.
I'm bouncing between the 3 languages. But more mature because we were taught from a young age, okay, when you come onto a military base, like the way that you change, like the way that you act changes. It changes. And it's like, we take that and then we go out into like normal society with that. And it's like, why are you guys acting like that? Like, grow up.
Oh, I
like,
know.
Yeah,
I know.
Like, kids, especially like my age, I'm like,
walk around a college campus. Like, seriously.
Walk around a college campus. But I love the differences between like civilian kids and the military kids because it's like you could see how we grew up similar but very different at the same time.
Yeah. So you had mentioned like adapting to just the military lifestyle, different cultures, different areas. What is it like for you adapting to different countries?
Wow, that's such a good question because so when like I said, I had grown up in the United States up until I was 12. So I was living all in southern states. And you guys know, if you guys have lived in the South has its own culture. Like I'm talking Georgia, Alabama, Texas, like that is its own culture within itself. And so I left Georgia and I moved to Germany my 12th, or not my 12th grade year, when I was 12, in 6th grade. And my mom didn't put me into the Dodea schools, bless her heart. But my mom put me into the German school system. So you can imagine growing up in Georgia, growing up in Texas, Alabama, like Maryland, to literally going from that to a completely foreign German school. Like the way I thought changed. I had to adapt, and it doesn't come overnight. I think I've noticed the way I do it. I observe first. I see what the customs are. I see how people do stuff, how people dress, how people act, how they talk. And then from there, like I can slowly figure out, like, I'm not saying completely change your personality, adapt to everybody around you, but I'm saying like the customs are really big. Like, especially like when you go to an Asian country, Japan, Korea, their customs, they're a very cultural society. Germany, there's a lot of cultural things that it's like you don't do that in Germany. You could do it in the States, but not here. So adapting, it comes with time and it depends on the person. It depends on, what you're comfortable with. Like, are you comfortable wanting to completely stick out, or are you comfortable going with the flow with everybody? But again, that was different because if you go to a Dodea school in Germany, everybody on base is kind of like similar. We're all here together in Germany because either our parents are contractors, military, whatever. Right. And you guys can kind of bond over that. But it's still like typical American high school, But then, like, again, when you go off base, like, you have to like find the ropes of each country. I love finding new food, adapting to like the culinary culture there. I'm like, ooh,
it's so much
give
fun.
Me some octopus. I love it.
Yeah, even like, back to, because I haven't really been out of the country. We took vacation to Scotland once and like highly recommend. But anyways, Like in Ohio, the area that we were in Cleveland, Italian food, like good Cuban food. Texas, all barbecue, all Mexican, all Tex-Mex. You come to Florida, seafood. Like you get, depending on where you live, in the country, out of the country, whatever, the different food is, you just, it's the best. Like,
and a lot of people forget that. It's like when you move to a new place, get ready to eat new foods, because when you live in Japan, for example, you're not going to be getting Pizza Hut or Chick-fil-A whenever you want, because there's no Chick-fil-A. There's no Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. You don't have, those common luxuries of being like, all right, I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A. And then, everyone over here is like, it is Sunday, you cannot go to Chick-fil-A. And then everyone, in these other countries stationed outside of the US is like, I can't go to Chick-fil-A altogether. Like,
but you know what is so funny? I feel every person, military kid affiliated with military, they always follow those like Instagram military accounts.
Yes.
But I've been seeing so many posts saying like, the food court really needs to step it up, because why have we been eating Anthony's Pizza, Charlie's, Burger King for our whole lives? Like,
oh my
why
gosh.
Taco Bell? There's never any new options on base. Like,
that is so true.
Right? Like,
that is so
Anthony's
true.
Pizza. If you're a military child, Anthony's Pizza.
The only good option there, well, I will say MacDill Air Force Base is adding new options, and their food court is getting really good. But my favorite, like, staple option is Subway. Like, just
Subway,
staple option.
Staple.
Yes.
Staple. Solid option.
And whatever that Chinese restaurant was.
Manchu Wok.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So they took that out of MacDill and they put in, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the name of it, but it's like a really good chicken restaurant. Like salads, chicken wrap, chicken tenders, like, oh my gosh, it's so good. But let's be real, it's on an Air Force base.
Yeah. You were an Air Force
base.
If you're an Air Force child, you're lucky, because you don't know the struggles of growing up on an Army base.
Let me tell you, on Fort Sam in Texas, that's all you had was like, I think there was a Subway there. There was the Manchu Wok. And I think that was closed the majority of the time. You had a Charlie's. You had a Anthony's Pizza, which I think that was closed a majority of the time I went there too. Like, ridiculous.
Every time.
And there was a Cinnabon. So, like, we'd
the
always...
Cinnabon's good. Also, when they randomly throw in a Baskin Robbins on the food court, I'm like, sick.
Oh,
that's
yes.
Good stuff.
See, this is like, you can't walk up to a normal person, like a civilian person, and be like, what kind of food do you have in your food court?
I'm like, do you know that one Chinese restaurant? And you're like, Manchu Wok? I know exactly what you're talking about.
You cannot
I know
do
exactly.
that. Because, like, literally,
it's just...
my childhood memories, like, the first military, well, not the first military base I've been on, but, like, one of the bases that I went to a couple times was Fort Dix. And so my dad deployed out of Fort Dix. And so, like, we would go there. I went there like once. I feel like I've been there so many more times because I was so young, but I've been there like once or twice. But the first place I ate at the food court was the Manchu Wok. So, like, I love that place.
Solid.
Like,
it's childhood memories, though.
I know.
I was going through some old pictures of me when I was a baby, and I was finding pictures of us eating at the food court, eating Anthony's Pizza, like back in like 2006. And I'm like, bro, the food court has not changed. Like,
I know.
And everybody knows when I say this. Every chair and every seat in the food court is the same one everywhere.
Yes.
Everywhere.
Yes.
It's the same, like, because I was looking at the table chair and I'm like, they haven't updated the tables and chairs in I don't even know how long. I'm like, why does it still look the exact same? But
the struggle is real.
And also, like, if you were, I know in Germany, the food court was the hangout place. I mean, after school,
really?
people, like, I didn't even, I didn't even go to school on base, but like people would like sometimes invite me like, hey, come to the food court. And I'm like, I'm school until 4 o'clock. I live 30 minutes away from base. I'm not coming to the food court right now. But I'd be like, what do you guys do there? They're like, yeah, we just sit at the food court and we go get like Arby's or like we go walk around the PX. And I'm like, that's it. They're like, yeah, I mean, we just walk around the PX. Because if you know Ramstein's PX, y'all, you know Ramstein's PX will take you at least 40 minutes to do a whole like thorough walkthrough.
Oh my gosh.
It's a big PX and the food court is humongous. I don't even blame them for hanging out there because you could just chill all the time.
Oh my gosh.
Military kid things.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, for us, it would be like, all right, we're going to go hang out at the park. Like, you know, just you go hang out at the park and literally, so my dad was enlisted, but I made friends with all the officer kids. You know, the smart thing to do.
Yes, always, of course.
So, you know, I'd go hang out with my officer kid friends and, you know, literally everyone would be at the neighborhood park. Like literally everyone.
Facts.
Everyone. That was the hangout spot. And so
everybody would like pull up on their bikes and stuff.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And then like trick-or-treating in the officer kid neighborhoods.
Yes.
Greatest thing
You're right.
on earth. You get the full-size candy bars or you get like huge handfuls. And then you all sit. So we had best friends ever. Like, so they would do a like a cookout, a chili cookout in their front yard. And so all the parents would sit in the front yard. And then all the kids, we would just, you know, get our little groups together and we'd walk around the neighborhood and then we'd all meet
you're on a military base. Like,
yeah, you can do that. It doesn't matter.
You can do that.
So we'd all sit down and then we'd all dump out our candy bags and then we'd all trade amongst ourselves for what we wanted. And you always got the good stuff.
Staple. Because I remember my mom, she took me to officer housing. So if you've ever been to Fort Benning, Georgia, you know all the officer housing, all the newer housing, like they've made newer housing, but like the old officer housing is like these really big white houses, like they're like in like the very like nice area of base. So like we would go walking around there and I had to fill me up, like, and you can see on like when you on the door if you're on base, like what rank they're on. I'm like, you're a major, fill up the bag. Yeah, you're a lieutenant colonel, fill up the bag. Like
when
right
you
now,
get your rank and your last name put on your house,
you're like, this is serious.
Yeah,
this is serious.
Like, oh my gosh, the first time we drove through officer housing, it was like these people literally have their name on their house.
I know.
Like,
and I was always mad at my mom. I was always mad at my mom because she was enlisted and then she went to OCS. And after she became an officer, we never lived on base again. We only lived on base when she was enlisted.
Gosh.
We were just like, we were like in like the everywhere housing. Like everybody's thrown in there. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like I love living on base. Living on base was so much fun. But later, like when she became an officer, I'd be like, Mom, like when we move to crew, we should move on base because we can get officer housing. And she's like, okay, and I don't care about that. I'm like, girl. And the thing is,
who doesn't want officer housing?
But here's the catch. We were supposed to go to Camp Humphreys, South Korea. And if you guys know anything about Korea, we ended up going to Daegu, Korea, which is like Camp Walker, like literally nothing there. It's so small. It's an army base. Yeah. And my mom was like, okay, well, we can live in officer housing. But the way that the officer housing was built in like the 50s and it was so old and just run down. I'm like, no, I'd rather move an apartment off base. But I always wanted my mom's name on the thing, just like a major Q. And I'm like, yeah, that'll look nice. I should get it. I should get it that.
Cool. You should now do that yourself.
I really should. I should just get it like a major Q thing. Like just put it there, like out on the door.
Oh so everybody my gosh. Yes. The civilians would walk around and be like, who are they?
MAJ, like mage? What?
Yeah, mage.
No, it's the best.
Oh
mage?
My gosh. Yeah.
What is that?
Nobody would understand. Nobody.
I love like, and it's not and it's not mean to say, but sometimes I do feel like when I'm given the option to choose between civilian kids and military kids, like I honestly would just
Military
run towards the
kids.
military kids.
Yeah.
I just and it's
And
not a bad thing per se.
Yeah, it
But they've
sounds like
always
mean,
grown up.
but
They've always grown up in like this one area. So like again, when I went to civilian school, moving to Maryland after living overseas, and realizing how hard it was to connect with kids that they've all known each other since pre-K, and like they've all grown up together, and like they show me pictures. I'll be like, hey, like you know that kid? Yeah, I've known him since I was literally like 2. Our parents are best friends from like the
yep,
80s, and I'm like what? Like what do you mean? Like you guys have known each other
yep,
your whole lives. And I don't know. And then when I would tell them about like, oh, like I've lived here, and it's like the questions and like the stares that you're getting, you're like, what do you mean you lived in like Korea, North or South? Like, what do you
yeah,
mean like you're alive right now? Like
yeah,
us.
nobody gets it.
But it's okay. I still love my civilian friends.
Exactly. Like, we still love them, but, military kids are just superior. Like, absolutely, hands down.
Valid option. And even at school now, like I don't meet many military kids anymore, but if you see who I hang out with at school, it's all international students. Like
Yeah.
I don't really hang out with as many Americans. All of my friends they're all like here for sports, but like they're from like Europe, South America, they're from Africa, like just so many different
Wow.
places. And I'm like, yeah, y'all are my people. I can relate to you guys.
Exactly. That's how it goes. Like, seriously, you have to find, because all of, you're a freshman. So, like, all of that incoming class, you compare them to military kids, you're like, all right, goes back to they're so immature, you're not, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to kind of find the balance there. And most of the time, we still want to have fun too. Like, let's face it, military kids we're not necessarily all about following the rule book. Like, we break a couple rules every here and there too.
Yes. But
When the time
when we
is
were like,
appropriate.
yeah. when we scoped out the area and we know, okay, there's
Yes.
no MPs, we're good to go.
We have completed a whole check, everything's fine. But, everyone comes to college and they're like, all right, let's party. Let's, do all of this stuff. Let's not go to class. Let's be late to class. And it's like, people, can we take this seriously? Like, this is the rest of your life. Like, they tell you the second you walk into high school, that's the rest of your life and your transcript follows you around for life. But if you go to college, that transcript follows you around for life. That transcript gets you a job. So
that's very true. Extremely true. Because I'm literally just yesterday, I was talking with one of my friends. She's from Italy. But she flew to Idaho for to scope out of college because she wants to go play athletics there. She wants to play volleyball there.
Yeah.
And she was telling me, she's like, I don't think I can go there because the mentality of some of the girls on the team, she's like, I can't. Their mentality is they're not focused.
Yeah.
And I feel like military kids as well, like we have grown up. I feel I had to meet expectations. Again, with that maturity thing, I always wanted to like stay focused, stay on top of everything, like do what I have to do, get good grades. And the culture in the United States is as soon as you get to college, go crazy because in high school you worked so hard. But if you think about it, Dodea kids in high school in Korea, a lot of times like on the weekend, we were doing really dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Downtown. And it's like, okay, I already lived that part of my life. And it's like, okay, I already know how the partying is, how, when you drink, and I know how that scene is. And it's like, I know now that specifically for this time in my life, it's not for me. Right. I know to have a clear path. And I know like, if the outcome I want in the future is going to be good, I have to start working now. Yeah. Like I have to start working now. And I also know I know one military girl at my school, and she's also very involved in school and stuff, and really energetic, outgoing. And I wrote a paper on it last semester, and one of the things I touched on is how military kids We come with a lot of trauma, not gonna forget that. We come with a lot of baggage.
Absolutely.
But one thing that we learn is we're very motivated though. If we can set our mind onto something, we can get it done. We know how to get it done. Like seeing my mom like go through OCS, like go through deployments, go through that, like, and I always tell myself, like, if all of my family can do the military stuff, I can do some schoolwork. Like I can do some schoolwork, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel it's good that we were raised a certain way because now it's paying off. Now it's paying off. The being strict, the being committed, the being motivated, that's what we need now, especially in college, because you're right, like transcripts do follow you, and college is no joke. It's scary.
I know. So what is one piece of advice that you would give to another military child?
So I was thinking about this. One thing that I always wish I could have told my past self is when you're living in an area and you know you're gonna move again in two years, or you know other people are gonna be cycled in, cycled out. Mm-hmm. If you find yourself in some drama and you feel your whole life is just everything is tearing down, drama, this, drama, that, my whole life is with these people at school. Listen, it will not matter in 2 years, a year, 3 years from now. Like, I promise you, the drama that's happening in your life or on the base or whatever's happening in life right now, it's not going to matter in a couple of years, because people are going to either be gone or you're going to be gone. And then once you leave, start on a clean slate. And that is the beauty of military child, because you didn't like the last place, you didn't like who you were, you didn't like maybe you acted immature, maybe you had a moment of growth and now you don't want to portray yourself like that. If you move, who knows you?
Nobody.
Like you could completely just start on a completely just clean slate. And again, if you find yourself in some drama, if you find yourself in a situation and you feel like life is just tearing you down, it's not going to matter. And that can be said all throughout life.
Yes.
If something's really bad happening to you right now, it's not going to matter in a year from now. You just gotta keep going with your life, because you don't know what's going to happen within the next 5 months. You don't know what's going to happen within the next 5 minutes. So that's why you always you'd have to have that positive mindset. Oh my gosh, I sound like my mother. But live each day as if it was your last.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Advice. You're so incredible. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's so much fun.
Thank you so much. Yes. And again, I want to thank you so much for having me. Yes. And I love talking about my military experience. I also love all of my civilian babies. You guys, we love you guys. We love you guys. We just know we're superior, but we'll keep that between the military kids.
It's okay. But it's our little secret.
So much, Grace.
Yes, of course.
And all the rest of Dodea. It's okay though, but thank you for having me and talking. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Grace of a Military Child and Life. Make sure to set a reminder for every Tuesday to listen to a new episode. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Grace of a Military Child and Life. If you have any questions or want to be on the podcast, send a message to one of our social media platforms or email grace.of.a.military.child@gmail.com. See you next week.